I never thought I'd be the kind of father who doubted his own kid. The call came at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. I was finishing up a site report for a commercial property on 8th Street when my phone lit up. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. "Mr. Davidson?" A woman's voice, professional, clipped. "This is St. Catherine's Hospital. Your son Tyler was admitted an hour ago with a fractured tibia. He's asking for you." My stomach dropped. "What happened?" "He fell down some stairs. He's stable, but he'd like you here." I grabbed my keys and drove through empty streets, running 2 yellow lights I shouldn't have. The hospital parking structure was nearly deserted. I found a spot near the elevator and took the stairs instead, too wired to wait. The emergency department smelled like antiseptic and burnt coffee. A tired-looking receptionist directed me to room 114. I found Tyler propped up in bed, his left leg elevated and wrapped in a temporary cast. His face was pale, twisted in pain. "Dad." His voice cracked. "Thank God." I pulled a chair close. "What the hell happened?" "I was leaving Megan's place. The landing was wet. I just slipped." He winced, gripping the rail. It hurt so bad. Megan, his wife of 8 months. I'd only met her twice, once at their courthouse wedding, once at a tense Sunday brunch where she spent most of the meal on her phone. "Where is she?" "She had to work early tomorrow. She was here earlier." Tyler's eyes were glassy. "They gave me something for the pain, but it's wearing off." A nurse came in, checked his vitals without saying much, adjusted the IV drip. She was older, maybe 50, with steel-gray hair pulled back tight. Her name tag read L. Morrison, RN. She didn't make eye contact with me. "You'll be moved to observation in about an hour," she said. "Doctor wants to monitor overnight." Tyler nodded. After she left, he talked. He talked a lot. About the fall, the pain, how scared he'd been lying at the bottom of those stairs, how Megan had found him, called 911, stayed with him until the ambulance came. I listened. I held his hand. I told him it would be okay. But something felt off. Maybe it was the way his pain seemed to spike whenever someone entered the room, then fade when we were alone. Maybe it was how he kept checking his phone, even while grimacing. Maybe it was just exhaustion making me paranoid. They moved him upstairs around 1:30 a.m. The observation unit was quieter, dimmer. I helped him settle into the new bed, fluffed his pillows, got him water. He fell asleep around 2, his breathing evening out. I sat in the vinyl chair by the window and watched the parking lot below. A few scattered cars, security making rounds. The city beyond, dark, except for streetlights and the occasional passing vehicle. I must have dozed off because I jerked awake to a hand on my shoulder. Nurse Morrison stood there, her expression unreadable. She pressed something into my palm, a folded piece of paper, and leaned close. "Don't come again," she whispered. "He's lying. Check the camera at 2 a.m. Before I could respond, she was gone. I unfolded the paper. Just 3 words in tight handwriting. "Security office. Ask." My heart hammered. I looked at Tyler, still asleep, face peaceful now. Innocent. I slipped out of the room and found the elevator. The security office was on the ground floor, tucked behind the main lobby. A bored-looking guard sat at a desk surrounded by monitors. "Help you?" He didn't look up from his phone. "I need to see footage from the 3rd-floor observation unit. From tonight." Now he looked up. "You family?" "My son's a patient. Room 312. He studied me for a moment, then shrugged. "What time?" "Around 2 a.m. He pulled up the feed, scrubbed through until the timestamp read 1:58 a.m. We watched in silence. At 2:03, Tyler's door opened. He emerged, no crutches, no limp. He walked normally down the hall, turned left, disappeared from that camera's view. "Can you follow him?" My voice sounded distant, like it belonged to someone else. The guard switched feeds. Tyler appeared again, entering a stairwell. Then another camera showed him descending 2 flights. He exited onto the 1st floor, walked past the cafeteria, and stopped at a row of vending machines. He bought a soda, stood there drinking it, checking his phone, completely fine. "Want me to keep going?" the guard asked. "Yeah." Tyler finished his drink, tossed the can, and headed back the way he came. Up the stairs, down the hall, into his room. The timestamp read 2:19 a.m., 16 minutes, walking normally, no pain, no hesitation. "That what you needed to see?" The guard's voice was carefully neutral. I nodded and left. Back upstairs, I stood outside Tyler's room for a full minute before going in. He was still asleep. I sat down in the chair and stared at him. My son, 23 years old. I'd raised him alone after his mother died when he was 7. Worked double shifts to keep him in decent schools, drove him to soccer practice, helped with homework, taught him to drive, sat through every school play, every parent-teacher conference, every milestone. And now he was lying to me. But why? I didn't sleep the rest of the night, just sat there, watching him, trying to make sense of it. The injury was real. I'd seen the x-rays when I arrived. A clean fracture, the doctor said. 6 weeks in a cast, then physical therapy. But if he could walk normally hours after admission, why the elaborate show of pain? Around 6, a different nurse came in with breakfast and morning meds. Tyler woke up slowly, saw me, smiled. "You stayed all night?" "Of course." "You didn't have to do that, Dad." "I wanted to." He ate his breakfast, scrambled eggs, toast, orange juice, while I made small talk. Asked about Megan again, his job at the software company, whether he needed anything from home. "Actually," he said, setting down his fork, "I'm going to need help for a while. Getting around, you know. Stairs are going to be impossible." "I thought you guys had a ground floor apartment." "We did. We moved last month. 2nd floor now." He looked at me with those same eyes that used to beg for one more bedtime story. "I know it's a lot to ask, but could I stay with you? Just for a few weeks?" My apartment was small, 1 bedroom. I'd been sleeping on the pull-out couch since I'd given Tyler my room years ago, before he moved out. "Sure," I said. "Whatever you need." His smile was warm, grateful, perfect. "Thanks, Dad. I knew I could count on you." I brought my car around to the entrance. Tyler came out in a wheelchair pushed by an orderly, a pair of crutches across his lap. Getting him into the car was a production. He moaned, gritted his teeth, gripped my shoulder so hard it hurt. Finally settled in the passenger seat, seatbelt fastened, crutches in back. "You okay?" I asked. "Yeah, just sore." I drove carefully, avoiding bumps, taking turns, slowly. Tyler stared out the window, quiet now. His phone buzzed constantly. He ignored it. "Megan?" I asked. "Work stuff." We hit traffic on the interstate. Normally, I'd take the express lane, weave through gaps. Today, I stayed in the right lane, patient. "I really appreciate this," Tyler said. "I know it's not convenient." "You're my son. It's not about convenience." He looked at me then, something flickering across his face. Guilt? Calculation? It was gone too fast to tell. "I'm lucky to have you." My apartment was in a converted warehouse building downtown. Industrial chic, the realtor had called it. I called it cheap and close to work. 2nd floor, no elevator. Just 1 flight of stairs, but steep. "How do you want to do this?" I asked, eyeing the steps. "I can manage. Just stay close." It took 15 minutes. Tyler hopped on his good leg, using the crutches and the rail, stopping every few steps to breathe through the pain. I stayed right behind him, ready to catch him if he fell. Inside, he collapsed on the couch. Jesus. "Want water? Food?" All 3. I got him settled with pills, a sandwich, and a bottle of water. Turned on the TV, found a basketball game. He stretched out, propped his cast on a pillow, and seemed to relax. "I'm going to make up the bedroom for you," I said. "Dad, no. I can take the couch." "With that leg? Don't be stupid. I've been sleeping out here anyway." He didn't argue further. I changed the sheets, cleared some space in the closet, set up a small table next to the bed for his phone and water, made it comfortable. When I came back out, Tyler was asleep, mouth open, TV still on. I turned down the volume and stood there watching him. 23 years old, and I barely knew him anymore. The gap had started in high school, widened in college. He'd gone to state 2 hours away, came home less and less, got internships that kept him busy summers. After graduation, he'd taken a job in the city, moved into his own place. We'd text occasionally, have dinner every couple months. Then he'd met Megan, introduced her to me 8 weeks before their wedding. She was pretty in a sharp-edged way, with perfect makeup and designer clothes I suspected Tyler couldn't afford. She'd been polite but distant, checking her phone constantly, making it clear she had better places to be. The wedding had been rushed. City Hall, no guests besides me and a friend of Megan's I never met again. Tyler had seemed happy, but nervous. When I'd asked if everything was okay, he'd laughed it off. Just excited, Dad. New chapter and all that. After the wedding, I'd seen him even less. Texts went unanswered for days. Dinner plans got canceled last minute. I'd told myself it was normal. Newlyweds needed space. He was building his own life. But now, watching him sleep in my living room with an injury that might not be what it seemed, I wondered what else I'd been telling myself that wasn't true. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Did you check? I stepped into the bedroom and closed the door. Who is this? Morrison, the nurse. Did you see the footage? Yes. Then you know. I know he walked normally on camera. I don't know why. 3 dots appeared, then, there's more. Meet me tomorrow. Mercy Coffee on 7th, 3 p.m. Why are you doing this? Because someone should. The dots appeared again, then stopped. No more messages. I sat on the edge of the bed, my bed that I'd given up again, and tried to think. Tyler was lying about the severity of his injury. That much was clear. But the fracture was real. So what was the angle? Insurance fraud? Seemed elaborate? Workers' comp? He'd said he fell at Megan's place, not at work. Attention? Tyler had never been the dramatic type. Money? That last thought stuck. I'd helped him with rent a few times over the past year. Small amounts, a few hundred here and there. He'd always paid me back. But what if that had changed? I pulled out my phone and checked my bank account. Nothing unusual. Last transaction was gas 2 days ago. Then I checked the credit card I'd added Tyler to years ago for emergencies. The one I'd forgotten to remove him from after he moved out. $3,147 in charges over the past 2 months. Restaurants, clothing stores, electronics. A payment to something called Prestige Property Management for $200. None of it emergencies. I felt something cold settle in my chest. There was a noise from the living room. I opened the door to find Tyler awake, struggling to sit up. You okay? I asked. Yeah, just need to use the bathroom. Want help? I can manage. He grabbed his crutches and hobbled to the bathroom. I heard the door close, the lock click, water running. I stood in the hallway and waited. When he came out, he looked steadier. Less pain in his expression. Feel better? I asked. A little. Those pills are strong. Good. You want dinner? I can order something. Sure. Whatever you want. I ordered Thai food from a place nearby. While we waited, Tyler scrolled through his phone, occasionally chuckling at something. I pretended to watch TV. Megan coming by? I asked casually. Not tonight. She's got a work thing. What does she do again? Marketing, for a tech startup. She like it? She likes the money. The food arrived. We ate in relative silence, Tyler managing his fork just fine despite the supposed pain medication haze. I watched the way he moved, the way he ate, looking for tells. Nothing obvious. If he was performing, he was good at it. After dinner, he said he was tired and wanted to sleep. I helped him to the bedroom, got him settled. "Thanks again, Dad," he said, "for everything. Get some rest." I closed the door and stood in the living room, listening to the sounds of the city outside. Traffic, sirens, someone's music thumping through thin walls. I should have felt concerned, supportive, loving. Instead, I felt angry. My phone buzzed. Another text from Morrison. "Don't let on that you know, just watch." I typed back, "What am I watching for?" "You'll see." I pulled out the couch bed, lay down in the dark, and stared at the ceiling. Somewhere in the bedroom, my son was probably on his phone, texting God knows who, planning God knows what. And I was supposed to just watch. Before we go any further, hit the hype button, take a second to subscribe and like the video. It really helps the channel grow. And tell us in the comments, what would you do in this situation? I woke up at 6:30 to the sound of Tyler moving around. Through the bedroom door, I heard him talking. Low voice, almost a whisper. Phone call. I stayed quiet, listening. I know. He bought it completely. No, he's being really helpful, actually. Yeah, probably a few weeks at least. I will, don't worry. Silence. Then footsteps approaching the door. I closed my eyes, faked sleep. The door opened a crack, then closed again. More footsteps retreating. I lay there another 10 minutes before getting up. Tyler was back in bed when I knocked. "Dad?" "Morning. How'd you sleep?" "Good. Really good, actually." "Need help getting up?" "Not yet. Maybe in a bit." I made coffee, scrambled some eggs, and brought him breakfast in bed like he was 12 again. He ate gratefully, asked about my work schedule. "I've got 3 site inspections today," I said, "but I can push them." "No, don't. I'll be fine here." "You sure?" "Yeah. I'll just watch TV, rest. I've got my laptop if I need to work." Work. Right. His remote job at the software company that apparently allowed him to spend $3,800 on my credit card. "Okay, I'll be back by 4. Call if you need anything." "I will." I left him there, grabbed my work bag, and headed out. But instead of going to my first site, I drove to Mercy Coffee on 7th and parked across the street. It was 7:45 a.m., way too early for the 3 p.m. meeting Morrison had suggested, but I wanted to scope it out. The place was small, crowded with morning commuters. Through the window, I could see the counter, a few tables, a back corner with some armchairs, decent sight lines. I sat in my car for another minute, then drove to my first inspection, a restaurant space with questionable ventilation. I went through the motions, checked the ducts, noted code violations, filled out paperwork. My mind was elsewhere. Second inspection was a retail space. Fire exits, electrical panels, structural integrity. Everything checked out. I signed off and moved to the third, an office building with reported water damage on the 4th floor. By then, it was noon. I grabbed lunch from a taco truck and ate in my car, watching people stream past on the sidewalk. Professionals in suits, students with backpacks, delivery drivers hustling. Everyone had somewhere to be, something legitimate they were doing. What was Tyler doing right now? I pulled out my phone and opened the credit card app. New charge, $47.82 at an electronics store, posted 20 minutes ago. He'd left the apartment. I called him. It rang 4 times before he answered. "Hey, Dad. Just checking in. Everything okay?" "Yeah, all good. Just resting." "Need anything?" "Nope. All set." "Okay. See you later." I hung up and drove toward the electronics store, a big box place 15 minutes from my apartment, parked in the back lot where I had a view of the entrance. 10 minutes later, Tyler emerged, walking normally, no crutches, no limp. He carried a shopping bag and headed toward a late-model BMW parked near the front. But he didn't get in. Instead, he walked up to the driver's side window. It rolled down. I couldn't see who was inside. They talked for a couple minutes. Tyler handed over the shopping bag. The window rolled up. Tyler walked away, cutting through the parking lot toward the main road. I waited until the BMW pulled out. It was driven by a woman I didn't recognize. Dark hair, sunglasses, expensive looking. She turned left onto the boulevard and disappeared. Tyler was still walking. I followed at a distance, staying 2 lanes over. He walked 3 blocks before entering a bus stop shelter, sat down, pulled out his phone. I parked at a meter and watched. 5 minutes later, a city bus arrived. Tyler boarded, paid his fare, took a seat near the back. I couldn't follow a bus in downtown traffic, so I didn't try. Instead, I drove back to my apartment and let myself in quietly. Empty. Tyler's crutches leaned against the couch. His pain meds sat on the coffee table, bottle unopened. I checked the bedroom. Bed made. His laptop closed on the nightstand, no sign he'd been working. I sat down on the couch and pulled out my phone. Opened the Find My app, something I'd set up years ago when Tyler first got his license, in case of emergencies. He'd never removed me from his authorized list. His location showed him 3 miles away, at an address in the garment district. I plugged the address into Google Maps. Street view showed a mid-rise building with ground floor retail and apartments above. Nothing distinctive. My phone buzzed. Text from Tyler. "Hey Dad, might order some food. You want anything?" I typed back, "No thanks. Ate already." Cool. I sat there in my empty apartment, my son's crutches mocking me from across the room. At 2:45, I headed to Mercy Coffee. Morrison was already there, sitting in the back corner with a mug of something hot. She wore civilian clothes, jeans, a sweater, and looked tired. I bought a coffee I didn't want and joined her. "Thank you for coming," she said quietly. "Why are you doing this?" "Because I'm tired of watching it happen." "Watching what happen?" She took a sip of her coffee, eyes scanning the room before settling back on me. "Your son isn't the first. In the past 18 months, I've seen 6 cases exactly like this. Young man, minor injury, exaggerated pain, family member providing support. What's the scam? Usually, disability claims, insurance payouts, or dependency manipulation. Sometimes all 3. She leaned forward. "But your son's case is different." "How?" "The woman who visited him yesterday morning before you arrived. I recognized her." "Megan?" "No, someone else. Blonde, late 20s, professional looking. I've seen her at the hospital 4 times in the past year, each time visiting a different patient. Young men, all with moderate injuries, all with the same pattern." My stomach tightened. "What pattern?" "They come in alone, or with her. They're admitted for observation. They recover faster than expected, but exaggerate symptoms. Family members get pulled in to help. Then," she paused, "then things get complicated." "Complicated how?" "Money goes missing, property gets transferred, people take out loans they don't understand. By the time the family realizes something's wrong, the patient and the woman are gone." I set down my coffee. "You think Tyler's involved in some kind of con?" "I think your son is either a victim or a participant. Either way, you need to protect yourself." "Have you reported this to anyone? Police?" "I've tried. Without concrete evidence, they can't do much. These cases are always just circumstantial enough to avoid prosecution." Her expression hardened. "But I thought you should know. Before you lose more than you already have." "More than what?" "Check your credit. Check your accounts. Check anything in your name that he has access to." I already had, but her words made my chest tight anyway. "The woman you saw, you know her name?" "No, but I took a picture." She pulled out her phone, scrolled through photos, turned the screen toward me. The woman was striking, professional. Blonde hair pulled back, tailored jacket, confident posture. She stood in the hospital corridor, talking on her phone. And I'd seen her before. Not in person, but in a photo on Tyler's Facebook page from 3 months ago. A group shot at some restaurant. Tyler, Megan, and 3 other people I didn't know. One of them was this woman. "Do you recognize her?" Morrison asked. "Maybe. I'm not sure." Be careful, Mr. Davidson. Whatever's happening, it's not random. It's planned. She finished her coffee and stood. I've said what I needed to say. The rest is up to you. Wait, how do I reach you if I need to? You don't. I shouldn't have gotten involved this much already. She paused. But if you need proof, check the hospital parking garage footage from 2 nights ago, level 3, around midnight. Then she was gone. I sat there for another 20 minutes, nursing cold coffee, thinking. Finally, I drove back to the hospital. The same security guard was on duty. You again, he said. I need to see more footage. Parking garage, level 3, 2 nights ago, around midnight. He sighed but pulled it up. You know I'm not supposed to do this without authorization. I know, I appreciate it. The footage loaded. Grainy, poor lighting, but clear enough. At 11:52 p.m., Tyler's car entered the garage, a used Honda Civic I'd helped him buy last year. He parked, got out, walked toward the elevator, then stopped. Another car pulled in 2 spaces away. The same BMW from today. The blonde woman got out. She and Tyler talked. Close, intimate. She handed him something, too small to see clearly. An envelope, maybe. They talked for another minute, then both headed toward the elevator together. Can you follow them inside? I asked. Different camera. They rode the elevator up to the ground floor, walked through the lobby, took another elevator to the 3rd floor, the observation unit, where Tyler would be admitted less than an hour later. Anything else? The guard asked. No, thank you. I drove home. Tyler was there, back on the couch, crutches nearby, Netflix playing. How were the inspections? He asked. Fine. Uneventful. Good. I made dinner, spaghetti, garlic bread, while Tyler scrolled his phone. We ate together, small talk about nothing. He mentioned Megan might stop by tomorrow, asked if that was okay. Of course. After dinner he said he was tired and went to bed early. I cleaned up, then sat in the living room with my laptop. First, I went through my credit card statements in detail. 67 charges over 2 months, totaling 4,116. Restaurants, Ubers, clothing, electronics, a payment to a property management company, and 1 charge for $800 to something called Apex Legal Services. Next, I checked my bank accounts. Nothing unusual, but I requested detailed statements going back 6 months. Then I searched Apex Legal Services. Barely any web presence. A generic website with stock photos and vague language about comprehensive legal solutions. No address, just a phone number and contact form. I called the number. It rang once, then disconnected. I searched the property management company. Prestige Property Management. More professional website, but still thin on details. They managed select luxury properties in the metro area. The portfolio page showed 5 buildings, all high-end. One address jumped out, the same garment district location Tyler's phone had pinged earlier. I zoomed in on the listing. Modern 2BR 2BA, secure building, premium finishes, $3,400 month. Tyler and Megan's place was supposed to be a 2nd-floor walk-up. Something modest, but $200 on my credit card every month for 2 months. I called the property management company. A chipper voice answered. Prestige Property Management. How can I help you? I'm calling about a property you manage, the Garment District building. Wonderful location. Are you interested in touring? Actually, I'm trying to reach a tenant, Tyler Davidson. Brief pause. I'm sorry, I can't release tenant information. I'm his father. I'm helping him with rent payments. Another pause, longer this time. 1 moment. Silence. Then, Sir, we don't have a Tyler Davidson in any of our properties. You sure? I've been paying his rent for 2 months. I'm looking at our system right now. No Tyler Davidson. We do have a Megan Holloway in Unit 407, but that's the only name close to what you mentioned. My throat went dry. Megan Holloway? Yes, sir. Is there anything else I can help you with? No, thank you. I hung up, sat there staring at my laptop screen. Megan was paying rent on a luxury apartment using my credit card, but Tyler's name wasn't on the lease. I pulled up Facebook again, searched for Megan Holloway. Her profile was private, but I could see her profile picture. Her and Tyler close together, smiling. Cover photo showed her at some rooftop bar with people I didn't recognize. Mutual friends, 17. I clicked through. Most were strangers. A few were Tyler's old college buddies, and one was the blonde woman from the hospital. Her name was listed as V. Sutton. Profile also private. No additional information. I closed my laptop and sat in the dark. Tyler had lied about the apartment. Megan was on the lease, not him. They were paying $3,400 a month, or rather, I was paying part of it without knowing. The blonde woman was connected to both of them, and Tyler had met with her in the hospital parking garage the night he was admitted. None of this was accidental. My phone buzzed. Email notification. The bank statements I'd requested. I opened them and started scrolling. 6 months of transactions. Nothing unusual until 3 months ago. Then, $500 withdrawal. Cash. No note. $750 withdrawal. Cash. 2 days later, $300 withdrawal. Cash. 4 days after that, 11 cash withdrawals over 3 months, totaling $6,200. I never took out cash. Everything went on cards. I checked the ATM locations. 3 different machines, all in the downtown area. All within a mile of Tyler and Megan's luxury apartment. Someone else had my debit card. Or my PIN. Or both. I stood up, paced the small living room. My hands were shaking. How long had this been going on? I went to my bedroom door, opened it quietly. Tyler was asleep, face peaceful in the ambient light from the street outside. My son. I closed the door and went back to the couch. Pulled up, Find My again. Tyler's phone was here, in the apartment. But was he? I grabbed my keys and went downstairs as quietly as possible. Checked the street. His Honda was parked 2 blocks away. I walked to it, peered inside. Empty. Back upstairs, I knocked gently on the bedroom door. No answer. Opened it. Tyler lay in bed, facing away from me, covers pulled up. Tyler? No response. I walked closer. His breathing was even, steady. Too steady. I reached out, touched his shoulder. He rolled over instantly, eyes wide open. Dad? What's wrong? Nothing. Just checking on you. I'm fine. Just sleeping. Okay. Sorry. I backed out, closed the door, stood in the hallway. He hadn't been sleeping. He'd been lying there, awake, waiting. For what? I went back to the living room and lay down on the couch bed. Didn't sleep. Just waited. At 2:17 a.m., I heard the bedroom door open. Footsteps, the apartment door opening, then closing softly. I got up, went to the window. Tyler emerged onto the street below, walking normally. No crutches, no limp. He headed toward his car. I grabbed my keys and followed. The police kept me at the station until 4 a.m., asking the same questions over and over. How did I know about the warehouse? What was my relationship to the suspects? Had I been working with them? I told them everything. Showed them the documents, the photos, the recording. Gave them my financial records showing Tyler's theft. They listened, took notes, asked more questions. You realize you committed multiple crimes tonight, one detective said. A woman, maybe 40, with sharp eyes. Breaking and entering, theft, interfering with a crime scene. I was trying to save those men. By breaking the law. What would you have done? She didn't answer. Eventually, they let me go with a warning not to leave town. I drove home as the sun was rising, painting the city in shades of gold and pink. My apartment felt different, empty in a way it hadn't before. I sat on the couch and checked my phone. 17 missed calls, 32 texts. Most from numbers I didn't recognize. Reporters, probably. Or lawyers. One text stood out. Thank you. Morrison. I typed back. Where are you? No response. Another text from the security guard. In hospital. Concussion, broken ribs, worth it. They get everyone? Sutton, Tyler, Megan, and 2 associates. 6 total arrests. 3 victims recovered and stable. What happens now? Investigation, trial, justice, hopefully. What about the other 3? The ones who disappeared? No response for a long time. Then, bodies found in a storage unit across town. Me confirmed 3 male victims, deceased 8 months. I'm sorry. I set down my phone and stared at the ceiling. Maybe he hadn't pulled any triggers, but he'd known. He'd been there. He'd participated. My son was a murderer. The realization hit harder than I expected. I'd suspected. I'd known intellectually, but having it confirmed made it real in a way nothing else had. I must have fallen asleep because I woke to banging on my door. Through the peephole, I saw 2 people I didn't recognize, a man and a woman, both in professional attire. Mr. Davidson, we're with the district attorney's office. We need to speak with you about your testimony. I opened the door. They came in, declined coffee, got straight to business. We're building a case against Victoria Sutton and her associates, the man said. His name was Rodriguez or Ramirez, something I immediately forgot. Your evidence is crucial, but we need you to testify. About what? Everything. The financial fraud, the kidnapping, your son's involvement. Tyler. Yes, we need your testimony to establish the timeline, the methodology, the full scope of the operation. Will he go to prison? They exchanged glances. That depends on several factors. His level of participation, his willingness to cooperate, his criminal history. He doesn't have a criminal history. Not yet. The woman spoke up. Mr. Davidson, I want to be straight with you. Your son is facing multiple felony charges. Fraud, kidnapping, conspiracy. If convicted on all counts, he could spend the rest of his life in prison. Unless he cooperates, testifies against Sutton and the others, shows remorse, makes restitution where possible. And then? Maybe 15 to 20 years instead of life. 15 to 20 years. Tyler would be in his 40s when he got out, his entire youth gone. I need time to think, I said. We understand. But the preliminary hearing is in 3 weeks. We need your commitment before then. They left me their cards and saw themselves out. I sat alone in my apartment and tried to feel something. Grief, anger, betrayal. But all I felt was tired. Over the next 2 weeks, the story exploded. Local news picked it up first, then state, then national. Headlines screamed about the real estate horror and kidnapping ring. My phone never stopped ringing. I stopped answering. Tyler's public defender tried to contact me multiple times, left voicemails asking me to visit him, to help with his defense, to testify as a character witness. I deleted them all. The 3 survivors gave interviews from their hospital beds. They described months of captivity, forced to sign documents they didn't understand, drugged to keep them compliant. One of them mentioned Tyler by name, said Tyler had been the one to bring him food, to promise it would be over soon, to lie about when they'd be released. I turned off the TV. Friday morning, I put on a suit I hadn't worn in 5 years and drove to the courthouse. The media circus had died down. Only a few reporters remained outside, and they didn't recognize me. Inside, the courtroom was nearly empty. A few lawyers, some court staff, and 2 people I recognized from the recovered victims' families. They brought Tyler in at exactly 9 a.m. He looked smaller somehow, diminished. He saw me, and his expression crumbled. Started to say something, but his lawyer touched his arm, and he stayed quiet. The judge entered. We all stood. Be seated. This is the sentencing hearing for Tyler Davidson, who has pleaded guilty to 11 felony counts including fraud, conspiracy, and kidnapping. Mr. Davidson, do you wish to make a statement before sentencing? Tyler stood. Yes, Your Honor. Proceed. Tyler pulled out a piece of paper, his hands shaking. read from it in a voice barely above a whisper. I want to apologize to the men we hurt, to their families, to my father who gave me everything and got nothing but betrayal in return. He looked at me. I kept my face neutral. I knew what we were doing was wrong. I didn't know how wrong until it was too late. That's not an excuse. I should have known. I should have stopped it. His voice cracked. I'm not asking for leniency. I just want everyone to know that I understand what I did. I understand the pain I caused, and I'll carry that for the rest of my life. He sat down. The judge looked at some papers. I've reviewed the presentencing report. Mr. Davidson, you're 23 years old with no prior criminal history. You cooperated with investigators and entered a guilty plea, which saved the state considerable time and resources. Tyler nodded. However, your crimes were serious. 3 men died as a result of this operation. 3 others were severely traumatized. Multiple families suffered financial devastation. She paused. The prosecution recommends 20 years. The defense requests 10. I'm inclined toward the middle. She looked at me. Mr. Davidson Sr., would you like to address the court? Everyone turned. Tyler's eyes pleaded. I stood, walked to the front, faced the judge, not Tyler. Your Honor, Tyler is my only child. I raised him alone after his mother died. I worked hard to give him opportunities I never had. My voice was steady, calm. When I learned what he'd done, my first instinct was denial. My son couldn't be involved in something like this. There had to be an explanation. I glanced at Tyler. He was crying silently. But there wasn't an explanation, just choices. Bad choices made by someone I thought I knew. Back to the judge. I don't know what sentence is appropriate. I'm not a legal expert. But I know this. Tyler needs to understand consequences. Real consequences. Not the kind you can talk your way out of or rationalize away. I paused. He also needs time to become someone different than who he is now. Prison might give him that time, or it might break him completely. I don't know. What are you asking for, Mr. Davidson? I'm not asking for anything. I'm just telling you that whatever you decide, I'll accept it. He's not my son anymore. He's yours now. I sat down. The judge was quiet for a long moment. Then, Mr. Tyler Davidson, please rise. Tyler stood, legs shaking. I hereby sentence you to 15 years in state prison with the possibility of parole after 10 years. You'll receive credit for time served. You're also ordered to pay restitution to your victims in an amount to be determined separately. The gavel came down. Tyler's shoulders sagged. His lawyer said something to him. Tyler nodded numbly. They led him away. He looked back at me one more time. I didn't look away, just met his eyes until he disappeared through the door. Outside, the prosecutor found me. That was brave, she said. No, it was necessary. For what it's worth, I think you did the right thing. There is no right thing, just less wrong things. I went home and sat in my apartment for 3 days straight. Didn't eat much, slept fitfully, watched the city from my window and tried to figure out what came next. On day 4, I got a call from the guard. He'd been released from the hospital a week ago. How are you holding up? He asked. I don't know. Want to get coffee? Not really. I'm buying. We met at Mercy Coffee. Felt like going full circle. He looked better than I expected. Still bruised, but moving okay. They're talking about giving us some kind of civilian award, he said, for breaking up the ring. Great. You don't care. Should I? No, I don't either. He sipped his coffee. Sutton's trial starts in 4 months. They want us both to testify. I know. You gonna do it? Yeah. Why? Because someone should. We sat in silence for a while, then, what are you going to do now? I don't know. Work, live, try to forget. You won't forget. No, but I can try. He left cash for both our coffees and stood. If you ever need anything, someone to talk to, someone to sit with, call me. I don't have your number. Yes, you do. I texted you from my real phone yesterday. He had. I'd ignored it. Okay, thanks. I mean it. Don't disappear. I won't. But I wanted to. Wanted to pack up and move somewhere nobody knew my name or my story. Instead, I went back to work. My supervisor had been surprisingly understanding. Said I could take more time if needed. I'm good. Work helps. So I threw myself into inspections, took every assignment, worked extra hours, stayed busy. Weeks passed. The media moved on to other stories. The prosecutor's office sent occasional updates about the upcoming trial. Sutton's defense team was arguing entrapment, coercion, and about 6 other legal theories. None of them would work, according to the prosecutor, but they'd drag out the proceedings. Fine. I had nothing but time. 3 months after Tyler's sentencing, I got a phone call from the state prison. You have a collect call from inmate Tyler Davidson. Press 1 to accept. I almost hung up. My finger hovered over the end button. Then I pressed 1. Dad? Tyler's voice was quiet, cautious. What do you want? Just to talk. 5 minutes, please. 3 minutes. Okay, thank you. He took a breath. I wanted you to know I've been in therapy here, trying to understand why I did what I did. Good for you. And I've been thinking about Mom. Don't. Please just listen. I've been thinking about what she would say if she could see what I became. My chest tightened. She'd be disappointed. Yeah, she would. His voice broke. I wish I could go back. Make different choices. Can't. I know. But I wanted you to know that I'm trying to be better, even in here, especially in here. Why are you telling me this? Because you're my dad. And even though I don't deserve it, I need you to know I'm trying. Silence. Are you there? Tyler asked. I'm here. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect you to visit or write or even take my calls. But I needed to tell you one more time. I'm sorry. For everything. The line went quiet. I could hear prison sounds in the background. Voices, doors clanging. Tyler. Yeah? Don't call again unless you have something important to say. Okay, I understand. Good. I hung up. Stood there holding my phone, feeling nothing and everything at once. Then I went back to work. Life continued. Sutton's trial came and went. She was convicted on all charges, sentenced to life without parole. Megan got 30 years. The other associates got various sentences. I testified for 2 days, answered questions, showed documents, relived it all. When it was over, the prosecutor thanked me, said I'd been instrumental in securing justice. I went home and slept for 14 hours. Morrison called eventually. Apologized for disappearing, said she'd been too scared to stay involved. I heard Tyler got 15 years, she said. Yeah. How do you feel about that? I don't know. That's fair. We talked for a few minutes about nothing important. Then she said, You did the right thing, turning him in, testifying. Not everyone could do that. Maybe. Definitely. You saved those men's lives. 3 men still died. But 3 lived. That counts for something. After we hung up, I thought about that. 3 men lived because I'd acted. That did count for something, but it didn't make me feel better. Time passed. Seasons changed. I kept working, kept living. Tyler called twice more. Both times I answered, let him talk for a few minutes, then ended the call. He never asked me to visit. I never offered. A year after his sentencing, I got a letter from him. Shorter this time. Just 1 page. Dad, I know you don't want to hear from me, but I wanted you to know I got my GED in here. Enrolled in some college courses through a prison program. Also started working in the prison library. It's quiet. I like it. I'm not trying to earn your forgiveness. just trying to become someone who might deserve it someday. Take care of yourself. Tyler. I put the letter with the other one. Didn't respond. But I didn't throw it away either. On the 2-year anniversary of that night in the hospital, I visited the recovered victims. All 3 had been released, were rebuilding their lives. One had moved back in with his parents. Another was in intensive therapy. The third had started a support group for fraud victims. We're survivors, he told me. Not victims. Survivors. I liked that distinction. You're a survivor too, he said. Don't forget that. I wasn't sure I agreed, but I appreciated the sentiment. That night, I stood at my apartment window and looked out at the city. The same view I'd had for 15 years. The same buildings, same streets, same lights. But everything was different now. Tyler was in prison. Morrison had moved to another state. The guard, whose real name I'd learned was David Chen, had quit hospital security and become a private investigator. And I was alone. Again. But maybe that was okay. I'd survived. That counted for something.